if you can write your questions, and you can ask it to this specific person, or it could be a generic question, and we will take it in the respective session. So the first session would be where we would invite the past presidents and the current one, and then the next session would be the contesting president and the contesting vice president. So you can have your questions accordingly, and you can put it in the chat box. Now let me invite Vinay Bansal to just give you a little bit of an information on the voting process, so that um, everyone is aware what steps would be followed there. Vinay, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Vinay, we can hear you.
Yeah, everyone must have received their voting credentials on their registered email ID with IITK Alumni. If somebody has not received an voting credentials, he can write to the election@iitkalumni.org, and they will send the voting credentials on their registered email ID. Once you receive the voting credentials, open the link and vote accordingly, whomsoever you want to vote for. That's the whole process. It's quite simple, quite effective, and quite secured process.
Right. And the voting, you may not have received the email by now, because voting will start from January 15th, but the postal ballot you can request
15th.
from January 8th. So you can request a postal ballot, and then you can vote it on the platform or the portal, which would be sent to everyone by EO. Now, let me invite today's moderator, Mr. Saurabh Chandra sir, who is in 1976 IIT Kanpur and 1978 IAS, and has worked as secretary to Government of India in various departments. He is currently chairman MCX, and he is an executive counsel and advisor to Outer Delhi chapter. Sir, over to you, Saurabh sir. So you can unmute, please.
Thank you, Damnish. Good evening, everybody. I spot at least one lady amongst the attendees. So good evening to the lady and the gentleman. IIT Kanpur Outer Delhi Chapter Alumni Association has taken this pioneering step to decode the IIT Kanpur Alumni Association, Kal Aaj or Kal. So we start with Kal. The past president amongst us is Mr. Ashok Kamal. He did his BTech in mechanical engineering, passed out in 1973. He was the president of the IIT Kanpur Alumni Association between 1998-2000. He laid the seeds of the Pan-IIT movement. During his tenure, thanks to his efforts, the office of the Alumni Association was given a place in the Students' Activity Center. He's been very active in the Delhi chapter. Now, may I request Mr. Ashok Kamal to tell us about the learnings from his tenure, which could be relevant for the president who would assume office in February 2021. Mr. Ashok Kamal.
Yeah, thank you, Saurabh, and thank you, Damnish, Anurag, Pradeep, Sudhir Mittal, Prakash Rastogi. I hope I'm audible, loud
Yes,
and clear.
Yes.
Thank you. So, thank you, Saurabh, for your opening remarks about me. Well, Alumni Association has always been a very dear part of my life, and especially IIT Kanpur, where we spent 5 years. So, some thoughts that I have, which I think is relevant on today's date. Of course, my presidentship is ended 20 years ago, is we must examine ourselves that what is the role of IIT Kanpur organization. So to that, putting my thoughts together, I thought the first thought that came to my mind, it came to my mind earlier also, is networking. We have created a network. Correct me if I'm wrong, I estimate we are about 40,000 alumni today from all over the world in the roughly about, what, 55 batches that have passed out. So that is a huge base that we can go on. Okay. And the next thing is, which I think a lot of the associations have been missing out, and I've been making this point, is it is the growth of us alumni also, which is very important. Our personal growth, our career growth, how we can nurture the talent of the upcoming batches. So most of us, that is Anurag is 2 years senior to me, being of 71 batch. So in 2021, I'll be completing 70 years of my life, running in the 70th year. Anurag, by that standard, is about 71 or 72. He'll be in 2001. So we are kind of senior people who have seen the alumni session. Anurag has been associated with the Delhi chapter, and what Gyanesh and Mr. Ramkumar Gupta had started way back. So the chapters have a very important role, and I'm so glad that Gavneesh, you as a young man, you've been interacting with me. Prakash, who's younger than you, you've come in, and Saurabh is also, of course, almost of our vintage, but has come in. So there is this constitution of ours, because I've been an alumni member right from the time, I think 75 or 76, when the alumni session of IIT Kanpur came into existence. So that constitution, yes, is valid, but I feel there needs to be some relook at that, which I have discussed to some extent on my telephonic conversations with Pradeep Bhargava, but I will come to that in my later part of my thinking. Career enhancement for the younger alumni and for the older alumni. Plus, I think recruitment can be a big area in the organizations that we work in IIT Kanpur, other alumnus that we can come into. Then another very important area that I've been interacting with Prakash Rastogi is on startup mentoring. So I'm an alumnus of Delhi IIT also, because I did my management from Delhi IIT 20 years later after passing out. So I got involved about 3 months ago in a venture called Inflection Point Ventures. And that is, as a group of Delhi IIT graduates, is hugely investing in startups, not only monetarily, researching and everything. So that, I think, is a huge area. Pradeep has been doing some work, from what I hear, on encouraging the startups. So this reminds me of a time that in 2010, when the Pan IIT program was held in this Greater Noida. Behind me, there were about 4 or 5 young guys who were sitting, and some of them were still students at IIT Kanpur, and they were thinking, this is 10 years ago, of startups. So, you know, we senior alumni plus the people who are in jobs and people like Prakash and Manish Agarwal, whom I've been interacting with, can play a huge role in this area. So this is what my preliminary thought is. Of course, the subset of all this is that our parent organization, the mother through which all of us have been born, and that is the linkage that we have, the benefits that flow to IIT Kanpur per se. Right now, this alumni station in its present form, the parent organization, is located at Kanpur. Yes, the synergies do flow from there. And I'm very glad that one of my classmates, Rajiv Shanti Sarup, is involved in liaisoning with the Dean RPG and the alumni station. So that is a huge advantage because he coming from a very, very huge background of IT as well as heading the, as a president, the Shivnada University. He has a lot of uh, inputs that he can bring to the table. I have been interacting with him also. So this is what it is. But I think the Alumni Association has a much larger role than just the involvement with IIT Kanpur. Yes, we can use IIT Kanpur synergies, we can use whatever it is. And that was, I was talking to Anurag, and I was talking to Rohit Dhawan, who's also Anurag's batchmate today in the morning, that there has been a huge change of thought in the outlook of the IIT Kanpur, thanks to our past directors, the last 2, 3 directors. So that also is a very, very encouraging sign. But during my presidentship, just to take you a little into the insight of what is the opportunity that is available. So when we did this reunion in 97 for our batch, our Silver Jubilee reunion, we said, let us take something for IIT Kanpur. So just that was quite a revelation because some about 60 of us alumnus, 80 alumnus landed at the campus. Ours was a very small batch, and including the families, we were almost about 140 or 150 people. There had never been such a big reunion, and that really took the reunions off this thing. But the point that I'm coming to, we laid a small norm in those days. We said, let's collect some funds and then decide what we want to do with it. So we were about only 58 alumnus who contributed to this thing. We sent a benchmark that people who are working for MNCs, all in their own business in India, they give 25,000 rupees. Rest of the people in India were encouraged to give 15,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. And the alumnus in US were asked to give just about $1,000 or whatever they wanted to contribute. The rate was 43 rupees in those days, the exchange rate. And we collected.
We do it in quickly, right?
I'm just finishing. So we collected about 20 lakhs rupees, with which we decided to professionalize the entire institution. And that's why the SAC office created. We tried to hire some professionals who would work for the Alumni Association also. So that has happened. So my just lead off is that somewhere down the line, we need to professionalize our chapters. We need to professionalize this institution where we have full-time executives running it. So just a stray thought that I picked up, I said 40,000 alumnus. If we even get 1,000 alumnus to donate 50,000 rupees, so that just amounts to 5 crores of rupees. So this can be used for professionalizing the Alumni Association. Because during that visit, I did visit a lot of universities in America, just to discover the wheels. And the president of the Alumni Association was as powerful as the director of the institute. So with these thoughts, I would leave you and hope that we can run this in a professional manner, the association itself, because we can be only contributing our thoughts, but somebody has to translate that thoughts into a vision. And all of us are engaged in our own businesses or in our own jobs or in our own work. So this is what I want to leave you with. And I hope the incoming presidents and the past presidents will work on this professionalization. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamal. May I request the speakers to come? That there's a time limit because there are 7 more speakers. And the time limit is 5 minutes for the 6 speakers. The current president is first amongst equals. He gets 7 minutes. So that is the exception that's been made. And there have to be questions and answers also. And we had slotted about 75 minutes to 90 minutes for the webinar. So now I request Mr. Anurag Goel, who's the leading light of the Outer Delhi chapter, to chip in. He's a BTech in Mechanical Engineering, pass out of 1971. He has a rich experience, especially in steel PSUs. He works as an independent consultant. He's a qualified company secretary, a qualified cost accountant, and above all, an insolvency professional. He was the Vice President of the IIT Kanpur Alumni Association in the years 2004 to 2006. He organized a very successful IIT Kanpur Alumni Convention in 2013. And he, of course, is leading the Outer Delhi chapter, which is organizing this webinar. Over to Mr. Goel.
Thank you, Saurabh. So kind of you to allow me and give some time to share my thoughts. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So basically, Alumni Association per se has three major functions. What I call it, it is based on tripod. First, it should be useful to our alma mater, that is IIT Kanpur. Second, it should be useful to the alumni. And third, and the most important, it should be useful to the society or the country. But then all the three things are possible if and only if we have got excellent networking and connectivity. In that background, the chapters play a very major role to connect the alumni with the Alumni Association and the institute. That is how, when I was secretary of Outer Delhi chapter way back in 2000 to 2004, I was nominated unanimously, without my consent, of course, as the Vice President of Alumni Association IIT Kanpur. Because I was trying to connect people to the Alumni Association, to the institute. So my submission is that Alumni Association per se should be useful to the alumni individually in their professional work as well as in personal work. During last 20 years, I have been extremely useful to the individual alumni for their personal needs as well as for their professional advancement. At the same time, I try to be useful to the nation building, or you can say society at large. So in brief, the three things which I am telling you is that Alumni Association should be useful to the institute, to the alumni at large, as well as the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Now, I have the privilege of inviting our president, Mr. Pradeep Bhargava. Mr. Pradeep Bhargava has been president of the IIT Kanpur Alumni Association for the last 4 years. Like his two previous speakers, he is also a BTech in mechanical engineering, so he completes the triumvirate. He passed out in 1989. He worked in L&T. He was the CIO of Daimler Chrysler. He was the chief operating officer of Daimler-Benz R&D Center. He has, I can't call it a startup. It's very serious business that he's doing with Gladwines. And I first met him when he was organizing startup masterclasses, which were a great success. For some reason, they are not happening anymore. Maybe COVID, maybe something else. And he's promoted Win. Now over to Mr. Pradeep Bhargava, who has a special time slot of 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's been a great honor and privilege to be here with you all. And this is really an excellent initiative coming out of Delhi chapter, Outer Delhi chapter. And Outer Delhi chapter is also special to me because of Outer Delhi chapter, I got into the global Alum Association activities. So as I see, and number of questions that have come around, what is Alum Association all about? And both Ashok and Anurag ji have been able to paint some picture that what it's all about. So there are three things which I believe that Alum Association really stands for. And then we have to see number of activities that we do, which take us to those three ends. First of them is building along with the alums, and that is what Anurag said, networking. It is important that we're not just talking about the BOD or executive team in chapter, but we are talking about all alums. And how do we build along with this alum association? And that is where the name Alum Association comes in. So that is the first part. The second is, as also said, we work along with the institute, and along and together gives a thing which is mutually synergistic, and we support each other. And that is the second area that I have looked at and I believe in. And the third is, if we both are together, along with the institute, alum and the institute, there are many, many things that we can go ahead and do. So I will trace all the three things that I have gone through, and I believe that we should work on that. And of course, a lot of innovation can come in. We have a vast array of alums, and that also makes me both proud and happy to be part of this community, because you see the breadth and the width of the people right across the world is immense. Now, Saurabh said, we met first time in SMC, but we met a little before also. And that is the time I got introduced with the thought, because we believe that, entrepreneur is just entrepreneur and you don't need government. And he said, why not? Why don't you take a look at what government can do? And that is the time we started looking at, and we realized that government itself has so many schemes that entrepreneur can leverage. And not only entrepreneur, institute can leverage. As individuals, we can leverage. It is about not staying away, but then getting into the game. So my journey with the Alum Association started way back 7 years now, and it was with what we call the family events. We call it Bhasad. Now Bhasad was more of the youth name which all the students now call it, and that came to 650 people, and we tried to cover almost as many age groups as possible. And we realized that that itself gave a lot of energy and inspiration to each other as we meet. But as people meet, they also say, who's for my batch there? And that makes it even stronger. So we still have a very strong batch connection, which we should and can leverage. And as we did this, we realized sometimes the youngsters, no sooner they hear family, they step out. And we said what we can do about it. And that's how the Startup Masterclass came in, because people were getting into startups and they looked at mentors, they looked at entrepreneurs, they looked at seniors who had made unicorns. And that is the thing that started evolving. And so since then, we were able to do now almost 25 Startup Masterclasses, not only in back row, but across the chapters. And that brought an idea, not only family event, but we could have professional events that we could do, and then take it forward across the chapters. And then beyond the chapters, we started looking at cross-border collaboration. And these are things all that can be driven by the alums and alum association. The little senior people then said, what are the areas where we can make an impact? And that is how social entrepreneur and enterprise activities started. We did a number of activities around water, air pollution, waste management, and we could get some of the best speakers in India and also from abroad to participate in it. And this lead to how institute alums can really contribute value. So we moved from roughly 10 odd active chapters to 25 odd active chapters. We see that we could contribute as a BOD member, we can contribute as a chapter, we can contribute as individual. We see an individual from coming out with 40,000 trees as an initiative, which could really change the way the people look at planting trees, because that was total barren land and it would become almost a forest. The second area that we talked about was working with the institute. And institute just doesn't mean faculty alone. It means e-cell that is there. We are talking about incubation center. We are talking about research part, which is coming up. We're talking about the DORA, and we're talking about the director. All the people constitute the institute. The way we can contribute is probably, internship, recruitment, industry connect. There are many areas that we can really work with the institute and make it happen. And as we see the number of challenges that the institute has, and we talk about infrastructure, we talk about funds, we talk about getting right faculty, and we talk about better placement. And this is where both alums and institute can work together. So number of initiatives coming out, along with Saurabh ji, for example. Now we have Rajiv Swaroop, we also have Arun Seth, Anurag ji. All these people have come together working with the institute to formulate a policy that can be made to work. So instead of just looking at small amount of money, which really can't make a difference today, we started looking at what large can be. So from a 10 crore, is 100 crore large, is 1,000 crore large, is a billion large? And that is how the institute has really come out with now strategy, because alums are looking at a purpose for which they should fund. Anybody who is funding looks at a purpose that what the institute is all about. And therefore this team I've just talked about has been working with the institute, and we have looked at a clear methodology, right from what would be, a course wise, which is new courses getting introduced, the department getting introduced, and now we talk about the medical research and technology center. All this takes the institute to the next level. And it perhaps answers many of the questions that have been raised along the way. What is ranking? Why not ranking higher, right? So some of the concerns are, of course, we have lesser number of faculty, we have lesser number of students, you need infrastructure to grow the institute, and all this cannot happen alone. So alums have to really contribute in that area with their own personal network that they have, or we have the connect with industry, and this can really make us overall very powerful. And I believe that together we can. Thank you.
Thank you,
Pradeep.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for sticking to the time limit. And before we transgress into the future, as per the flow of events, we are supposed to take questions and answers. So Damnesh, would you please take over and pose the questions?
Sure.
And I think Pradeep or any of the past, anybody here can really answer them.
Right. So let's take the questions which have been sent on the Q&A. Pradeep, more relevant to you. So there is first question is question for current president: why are the basics of A not in place? Directory non-accessible to alumni, communication channel only, an FB page. I think it's quite, and most of the people ask this question. Would be nice if you can answer it.
Yes. So I'll try to my best to answer it. So we have been having some website and other works which are going on, but at the moment, even we had some changes in the alum office. So the stage is set. The complete comprehensive website with complete member directory, and the way we see the LinkedIn is similar way we are intending to build the Alum Connect within for IITK. Now, the other channels which have been so far, and probably they are not the best for interaction. We have the email which can go once in a while, and not all people were registered also. So in the last months, we have moved the active database roughly from 24,000 to 37,000 members, which is almost 90% of the alum. And I'm sure in the next months, it will become 100%, where we validate the accounts and make it active. Facebook has been active, but as you know, that conversation can go in any direction. Some people are always, more comfortable in Facebook, but some people never log in for Facebook. So it is still a medium which is more like, getting to know each other, probably, otherwise we will never get in. The other medium we probably introduced, and it is coming up, is the video conferencing tool. And these kind of tools, we have always been encouraging our own alums. And for example, Damnesh had put in UOGems for, in the outer Delhi, we have had Townscript, we have had Passion Connect. So we have a number of people putting our own tools. We take their own tools, but this will be a formal effort that will come up, and I believe it will address it. We will also have some, permission methodologies or levels which can make the interaction really worth it.
Right. Thank you, Pradeep. I think I remember there used to be a directory earlier, but where people can see who all is there, and they're able to message. But I think there was a lot of privacy concern and things. That's what I remember when I was part of the BOD. And so there has to be a completely different structure that has to be thought of. And I think the last BOD has done few good things in that direction. And I think the upcoming one may put it in their agenda too. Okay, so the next one I think quite interesting from Yadvendra Sai. We see a lot of activities happening for entrepreneurship. So there's a very good question: how can the IITK be more meaningful and engaging for the large mass of career-seeking IITKNs, not only limited to entrepreneurship?
So, so career-wise, we have, I think in between people have asked questions around career. Is it still limited to mentorship? I think we really have to work a much more deeper way to be able to offer some meaningful guidance as far as career, guidance is concerned. But it's a good point. I think there are many people who have offered that they would like to mentor in that. We have to really create a formal structure to make it happen.
Right. Thanks, Pradeep. I think the next question is from the president candidate itself. So would expect them to actually answer that. What is the goal of IITK? I think they all are contesting, and I'm sure it's very well written in the constitution also. So we'll take it when we move to there. The Shobnik one is that I think again that requires a different methodology for the constitution and things. So we'll just skip that for now. Saurabh sir, over to you for the, I don't see any other questions, so you can move it to the next part.
I see a hand going up. I think he's a candidate for the presidentship. So would you like to wait for your turn to speak because it's coming very soon? Or would you like to raise a question now? So
I think let's just do that, and then we will raise the Q&A.
We'll discuss it as soon as Mr. Dhoot's 5 minutes are over. Now, I would now get into the future. We have 3 candidates for presidentship. We'll go in alphabetical order, and we would request them to set out their vision. One for the institute. The institute has been taking a large number of initiatives in the last couple of years. The latest being the School for Medical Research and Technology. And what we can do for our alumni, especially in these difficult times, COVID times. So to start with, I would request Mr. Avinash Dhoot to unmute himself. He's a BTech in Computer Science Engineering, pass out of 2003. He's been the guiding light of the IIT Kanpur, Calcutta chapter. He's done a lot of work there, and he is an entrepreneur. Over to Mr. Dhoot.
Okay, so first of all, I think my introduction was not updated by Damnish. Damnish, you want to give the latest one? It doesn't have entrepreneur.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't want to come in between. You can very well introduce.
So okay, I have been an entrepreneur. I've worked around places and stuff, and I've landed up in a situation where I'm free with my time and I'm flexible to do what I want. So luckily this year I spent most of my time in an ashram in South India. That was fun. And when I came back, I just got this mail in November saying these elections are going on. So I thought, well, I did some magic here in Calcutta, and we have a great chapter going on. In fact, it's expanded to the neighboring states and the countries also. Unfortunately, we didn't get much support from the institute those days. Even currently, there's quite a bureaucracy in forming these chapters. So although our focus has been on the bigger chapters, my question always comes, what about those small places where alumni are just moving into? And, why don't we support them in some way? So I did study some of the Ivy Leagues and the IIMs, how they are doing it. So I have my ideas on how that can be done. So alumni should be looked at as a whole and not just focused on the bigger cities. So thank you again, Ashok Kamalji. Your look is reminding me of what I was a few months ago. So I had a beard almost that big. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to shave it off before coming here. Can you guys see that? Yeah. 200 days of beard. So, and Anurag, Goel, I remember us meeting in Calcutta. I think you had come down for Pan IIT just before you were starting off that convention in Delhi, which was referred to here. So I still have your mail asking for sponsorships and all that. So it was nice, reconnecting with you here again. So what should Alumni Association do? Well, it's pretty much defined in the constitution and on the website. So why reiterate those things? The point is, why hasn't it been done more efficiently till now? That's always been on my mind. So that obviously we'll need to understand how things work and take more guidance from all you guys. But the point is, right now the institute could be taken at a flexion point, because look at the reason why people join Harvard. It's not just for the quality of education that you get there, but the alumni network that you get along with the degree. So why not have our alumni network so powerful and connected that we keep helping each other out and connecting with each other? Now, that's possible. It really depends on the quality of execution. So what I can offer you is my time and flexibility. I mean, I'm willing to move to Kanpur also if it requires me to understand the system and figure out how things work there, because right now I see it to be pretty much dysfunctional. A few years ago, I remember I had to get my sister married in Jodhpur. I reached out to the Alumni Association asking, who are my alumni I can reach out to there. I did get a response there. In the last few months, I've sent out some mails. I have not got a good response, or any response for that matter. So although we are sitting on a fund of maybe 4 crore rupees as per the balance sheet, I mean, if we can't have a basic staff there and basic directory services, why are we going about collecting more money? And there's also some financial independence or some structure there which has been evolved. I mean, right now Dora is also managing the alumni, and understand the funds that are supposed to be under the control of the alumni association are not directly in their control. So it's a bit complicated there. So I cannot paint a vision without actually stepping into the field and understanding what's going on. And I feel the communication channels could be much better. I've studied what's going on in ISB. So everybody has a permanent email address there. There are emails going out about job seekers, job opportunities available, etc. People relocating to new cities, etc. So why can't a simple solution like that be in place for all of us? We can work on Facebook, we can work on Slack, we can work on Zoom channel. Now with this COVID happening, we can actually have events like this happening independent of the chapter location. I mean, I used to work for a remote working company for 2 years before COVID. That was the largest remote working company in the world those days. So we could have meeting rooms just on all the time. I mean, we could have students come in, we could have some meeting rooms for, let's say, entrepreneurship, if that's the flavor of the day. We could have some for academia also, because that has been quite a neglected segment, I think. But there's huge potential there. So those were my
last
thoughts.
Few seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So those were my thoughts. I have lots of thoughts, but yeah, I can open it up for questions if you have.
We will take the Q&A once all of you have spoken. Yeah, Saurabh, sir.
Okay.
May I now request Mr. Bogineni Naidu. Mr. Naidu is based in Dallas. He did his MTech in Material Sciences from IIT Kanpur during the year 1982 to 82. And over to Mr. Naidu.
You can unmute Naidu, sir.
Yeah. My dear IIT Kanpur alumni, how are you? I am Chinchurama Naidu Bogineni, running for the president of IIT Kanpur Alumni Association. Main points in my election manifesto are: encourage each and every alumnus to donate generously at least 1,000 rupees or $100 every year to IIT Kanpur. Encourage startup company and entrepreneurship culture at IIT Kanpur. How can we achieve this? Encourage weekly GeoMeet or Zoom meetings on Saturday between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time with all students, alumni, and faculty together and exchange ideas for a better tomorrow. You can reap unprecedented results with this weekly get-together, I believe. If you elect me as the president of IIT Kanpur Alumni Association, I will do a decent job and I will not let you down. Trust me. Jai Ho, engineer. Thank you. Jai Hind.
So now moving on to Mr. Shamendra Narayan. Mr. Shamendra Narayan is a BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Kanpur, passed out in 1981. He's got a MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Bengaluru in the year 1985. He's the leading light of the Mumbai chapter. And of course, he has a lot of past corporate experience. Over to Mr. Narayan. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening. I'm Shamendra Narayan. I graduated as BTech in Mechanical Engineering from 81, as rightly mentioned, and I did MBA from IIM Bangalore. And I've had successful corporate careers culminating in 2 CEO roles. I'm now a partner with a global management company and involved with a logistics startup. I'm currently the president of Mumbai chapter and serve as the head of communications and outreach in the Executive Council of Pan IIT. I'm running for president of our Alumni Association. My vision is to help all you alumni leverage the power of this illustrious network of 40,000 people at the top of their fields across the globe. We strive for excellence in whatever we do. So let's make our Alumni Association at par with those of any global university, be it Stanford or MIT. With alumni living all over the world, why there should be any reason that you don't have a friend in any city of the world? From supporting each other's startups to accessing the best jobs, from commercializing path-breaking research to building lifelong friendships, all this is only possible through a strong and deeply connected network of alumni that I want to build. In specific, I have 5 goals which I want to achieve. One is we want to use or develop an online platform, ideally mobile, to connect with our 40,000 people across the globe. And then in the virtual world of IIT Kanpur, we'll create enriching experiences of mentorship, accessing global connections and resources, job opportunities, and discussion forums, or simply remembering good old times at the IIT Kanpur. I have a little problem with my computer, so just give me a sec. I'm very sorry about this.
In the meantime, if anyone has any questions, can type it or maybe raise hand. We'll take few questions on the voice too. So you can raise your hand and you can ask questions after the Shamendra session. Yes, Shamen.
How did you get it here? Yeah, you got it here. I'm just needing somebody's help to do this. I'm very sorry about this, but yeah, okay, I can do that now. Yeah. Yeah, the second is we want to expand the network of local chapters and create interconnection across them to share best practices and agree on a menu of activities for uniform experiences across chapters. Third, we want to integrate our startup initiatives like SMC, SEE, SIIC to offer mentorship and angel investing opportunities for our alumni. We want to run this every quarter through a global online event to make it possible for global reach. Fourth, to create a premium brand recall for IIT Kanpur, we want to start an annual mega event named Technology and Innovation Summit. This will involve alumni industry leaders, government leaders, and faculty to showcase their achievements in technology and innovation. This will be modeled on Diamond Jubilee events. Each chapter will bring its own flavor to the event. Like, for example, Bangalore will bring tech flavor, Mumbai will bring industry flavor, and Delhi will bring government connection flavor. Fifth, we want to support fundraising program of the Institute. For this, we will create a group of alumni with the network with industry leaders to help raise funds for the Institute for initiatives like SMR, SMRT, and any other initiatives. Well, why do I think I can do this? During my time as the president of the IIT Mumbai chapter and member of Executive Council of NIIT, I have achieved tremendous progress. I became president of Mumbai chapter last year in May. Within a few months, we galvanized mostly a new team, collated data for alumni, created a formal chapter, and ran 3 programs. One for mentoring young alums, second a family get-together called Confluence, and lastly, we organized a very successful Diamond Jubilee event. It was attended by industry leaders like ITC Chairman, Mahindra MD, ICICI Bank ED, and many more. Besides,
Shamin, the last few seconds, please.
Sorry, can you just give me the 2 minutes I lost, if you don't mind, please? Thank you. IIT Kanpur director and faculty. We raised good amount of money by sponsorships and tickets, totaling around 70 lakhs, and left a surplus of 25 lakhs in the chapter, something unprecedented in Alumni Association chapter history of IITK. Many alumni told us that it was one of the best events organized ever. The event was extensively covered in print and TV media. I got nominated to the Executive Council of Pan-IIT in July and was made head of communications and outreach soon thereafter. Within a few months, I and my team got membership on website increased from 1,000 to 13,500. And I'm also leading initiatives on mentorship, startup showcase, and discussion forums. The reason I'm able to achieve things very fast is because I create a good vision and create a team of people aligned with that vision. I empower the team members to drive things with regular interaction to provide support. I also bring maturity and persona to connect with industry leaders. This is what will be needed to drive things as President of Alumni Association, as we have a short window of just 2 years to make things happen. I have already put together a group of competent, enthusiastic, and experienced people from across the world who are contesting election with a common vision of making IIT Kanpur Alumni Association as the most vibrant and expanding alumni network globally. I look forward to your support to be able to achieve this vision to make IIT Kanpur Alumni Association as the most vibrant and expanding alumni network globally. Thank you very much for patiently hearing me.
Thank you, Mr. Narayan. Now we'll take questions for the candidates for presidency. Damnish, could you please take over now?
Right. So I think there are a few questions answered on the type, but I'll still raise them again. So first is from the Vinay. Being a president and other responsible positions of AA are taken by highly passionate individuals, but building a community requires energy and constructive effort from members also. So how do we facilitate such enthused janta? Over to the 3 candidates quickly. I think Avinash has already answered it in typing. So rest 2 if they want to cover it in quickly. Shamendra and Mr. Bogineni.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat the question again? I just missed part.
The question is that how do you basically mobilize and create an enthu in the normal alumni?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, it has to happen at the chapter level in a big way. That is one. So local leadership of chapters is very critical because these are the people who are the local leaders. They can galvanize their teams and bring a lot of enthu, like Bangalore has done, like Bombay has done, like Delhi is doing. And I'm sure many other places like Avinash says he's done in Calcutta. So local leader is very critical. Second thing is at a global level, at my level, which if I become president, I think the vision is of making the best network of alumni association anywhere in the world. Now, this is the vision which may look very audacious, may look impossible to achieve, but this is like you aim for the moon, you will surely reach somewhere, right? So this is what I think we should be doing to galvanize everybody. And lastly, not a small thing, is when we connect them through a network where all these 40,000 people are sitting in a network. It becomes a virtual family for you, and you get all kinds of support. And this is what excites people, and you are like a family, right?
Right. Mr. Bogain, you want to add on this? You have to unmute.
Yeah. Firstly, we have to improve the transparency in the Alumni Association activities. Then only we can get enthusiasm among the alumni. I think that type of transparency is missing in Alumni Association activities right now.
Okay. I take the other question. I request Sanjay Iyengar. You can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you, Damnesh. Want to ask the candidates that they obviously do not have. I mean, they have little idea about what Alumni Association actually is like, the structure, the relationships with the institute, and the kind of functioning which is there inside it, which is quite obvious listening to all the three candidates. Why do they want to stand directly for the as a president then? Why can't they work like a normal member or like a normal volunteer and achieve whatever they are saying? What is so great about the seat of president and vice president? And the tenure of a president and vice president is only 2 years. And the things which they are saying is as if we are going to reach the stars tomorrow. By the time they understand how it functions, it will be almost a year. So I would like to hear what they want to say. Why can't they simply come in as a member? Thank you.
So let me
Thanks,
go
Sanjay.
at that first.
Yeah.
So I did
Okay.
think about that before putting in my papers for nomination. In fact, I really want the place to change, and I understand that the president would be the decision maker, and he can take the call as to what to do and what not to do and drive the team, rather than just being part of the normal bureaucracy that it is. And so I did speak to a lot of people about this, and they did feel that I had the material to do this work, and the Alumni Association does need somebody like me. So that gave me the confidence in stepping this up. That's my take to it. And it's not rocket science. People have picked it up.
Thanks, Avinash. Mr. Bogineni.
Yeah, let me ask you one straight question. Why not, as the president, we can act? Why only from the member we have to grow up? It is, as the president, we can put our vision into the Alumni Association so that the institute, IIT Kanpur, and the alumni can grow well for a better tomorrow. Why not? Directly as the president, we can contest. Mr. Sanjay Iyengar, can you tell me?
No, that's okay. It's okay. I mean, that was his question. So, yeah.
Damnesh, may I request that we cannot answer a question by asking a question?
Right.
Actually, Mr. Bogini has said why he wants to be the president. And I think Sanjay has got some answer. He may or may not be satisfied. May I request Mr. Shamendra Narayan to pitch in now?
Yeah. Well, I think there are a few things. One is there is already a continuity membership in the board. The secretary is already there as a continuation. I think the president, the outgoing president, is also a member of a standing committee. So there is a continuity and understanding of how these things work. Second thing is, I mean, these are not rocket sciences, right? There is a, charter of the association one can read. It takes a half an hour to understand what this whole thing is all about, and I mean, IIT Kanpur, I mean, we know the place. I mean, we know how the whole thing functions. And I mean, it cannot be complicated. I mean, so therefore, I think saying that why should people stand for president? They stand for president because they know that they can do the job. And they have demonstrated this, at least I have demonstrated this, by doing things within the association in a very, very short window of time. So both in IIT as well as Mumbai chapter. So I think I think I'm very confident that somebody, like me coming as a president will do a great job. Thank you.
Okay, great. We will take a quick question. This is from Rajiv Sarup. The quality of future alumni depend to some extent on the quality of students coming. What can A do to attract the good ranks? I think that's a question everyone has been going around. So would be really nice to hear very quick comments from all of you. Maybe Shaman can take it first. He's always getting the last to answer, so we can start from him.
Well, I don't think Alumni Association can do anything about the quality of the students coming into IIT Kanpur. They have their independent test, and whosoever comes to IIT Kanpur is what comes there, right? I think what we can do is, once they become an alumni, or maybe even the last year of their stay in IIT Kanpur, we can try to make them, a good member of Alumni Association, try to learn good behavior of giving it back to the network, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's my answer. I think we can do very little about what.
I'll leave a thought there. Can we give free ship to the students whose rank was first 100 or 200 to join IIT Kanpur? Some incentive?
Sir, my thought is, I don't know enough. I do not know what the issue is, but I think IIT must be governed by a common charter where, you cannot incentivize. That way, an IIT sitting in Guwahati, you can start giving, free membership, and all the top hundreds will go to IIT Guwahati.
It may or may not. You have to have merit. I mean, all American universities do it.
Sir, we need to know more about this, but I think it may not be easy to do it. It may not be possible also.
Yeah, the Mr. Boginini, for you to answer, if you would like to.
Yeah, sure. We can attract more students to IIT Kanpur by helping them to understand the beauty of startup company culture, and they can do it right from day one. We can encourage them how to start a company, how to grow rich by the end of the academic career in IIT Kanpur. Similar to on the lines of Stanford University or University of Texas Austin. These universities, the student who join in those universities normally will come up with something in mind how to start a company, like Dell. Dell, who joined in undergraduation in University of Texas, he has the vision to start a company. Then he started by founding Dell. That type of inspiration, that type of motivation, we have to provide to the young students from day one in IIT Kanpur. In that way, more students will be attracted into IIT Kanpur. And I think that is the best solution, I feel.
Okay, just to share one of the experience we had in our chapter, Saurabh sir, I mean, and all our EC members know it. We took an initiative, and our idea was very simple: connect alumni with the people who got selected in JEE. So we gave a platform for people to come ask questions about IIT Kanpur. There's a lot of misconception around there. So we kind of created a platform where people can come, did few events, and I think in some way it may have helped. So maybe the new BOD can think of how do they make alumni reachable to the people who got selected, and yes, other things like the scholarship and things. But we did few things here in Delhi for it. Okay, so Saurabh sir, do you want to now take the vice president candidates, and then we continue with the Q&A? Because I see there are a lot of Q&A. Yeah.
Because we have two candidates for the post of vice president. So to start with, I would invite Mr. Ratnesh Kumar. He's a BTech in electrical engineering, pass out of 1987. He has a master's and PhD degree from the University of Texas, and he's the Harpole Professor at Iowa State University. Over to Mr. Ratnesh Kumar.
Greetings to everyone. I wasn't sure what the format was going to be, so I'm going to share some slides with all of you. So let me start with that. So is my slides visible now?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So greetings to everyone. Thanks for participating and thanks for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself as the Vice Presidential nominee for the Alumni Association. Currently, I'm Ratnesh Kumar, currently a Harpole Professor at Iowa State in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Got my BTech in '87, and 4 years later, got the PhD from UT Austin. So what you see is my professional picture. Currently, I'm in the COVID. This is my COVID look that you're seeing on the camera. So same year, in fact, the same day today, I got married to my wife, Sudha. We're still married. She also got her graduate degree from UT Austin. And together we have 2 boys. Both are pursuing engineering here at Iowa State itself, one in final year, another in first year, and they will continue into medical field after that. Some of my accomplishments I would like to mention, fellow of IEEE and fellow of AAAS, which are professional societies, one in electrical engineering field, another in sciences. I'm also a distinguished lecturer for IEEE Control System Society. And from Iowa State, I have received this David R. Boylan Eminent Faculty Award for Research. Some accomplishments I've had at IIT Kanpur was I got a gold medal for being the best EE student, and also I had another gold medal for being the best all-rounder that year, that graduating year. And our project, BTech project also was judged to be the best BTech project that year. I've represented IIT on football and soccer at the inter-IIT level. I've also played hockey for the hostel teams and contributed in other ways. So here I'm sort of sharing my vision of what the what I see as the 5-pronged mission of Alumni Association that I have acronymed as SHINE, where S stands for support, which is the assistance the alumni can provide to each other. H for hosting, which is hosting of events relevant to AA mission. I for impression and image building, N for network, and E for endowment and giving back. And they align pretty much with the mission. So I've encapsulated SHINE in this graphical depiction where we have a technology wheel, and in the center there is a lamp which symbolizes the light or the IITK motto corresponding to Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya. That's our motto. To get to that SHINE mission, one thing I would like to think about contributing, and this has been discussed, is building upon a structured and comprehensive and accessible database. So I have here sort of listed four different aspects of doing so, and how, the kind of timeline, what can be done in year 1 versus year 2. So building a structure which will be highly indexed, will allow the database to be searched based on geography, batches, faculty, etc. And a process for update in the first year, and a process for maintaining on the following years and on an annual basis. The database is going to be available online as well as mobile. Will have privacy preserving features, and so there is a timeline I have in mind in the two years time frame that can be pursued. Having such a foundation would enable the SHINE mission in various ways for support, hosting, impression, network, endowment. And I've listed some examples here, and in the interest of time, I would certainly can share this slide. And this is my final slide here. I'm presenting some of my unique skills and experiences I've had that I can bring to table. So I believe I'm the only candidate who has been in academia throughout, so I'm still learning. Nearly 30 years of that as a faculty member in USA. Through that, I have diverse research skills, not just in engineering, but I've had applications in biomedicine and agriculture, Iowa being an agricultural state. I've had several leadership and mentoring roles, obviously, services and outreach. And
Ratnesh, last few seconds, please.
Student alumni interaction. So yeah, so I can contribute to developing a clear vision, bring synergy, create innovative solutions, do clear and succinct communication. In fact, I have published over 350 refereed articles in various journals and conferences. I've been a chairperson for the department seminars where I invite and host distinguished speakers on a weekly basis. In fact, I invited Professor Maninder Agarwal, who's been to the campus here, done active fundraising and delivery, over $10 million to support, and direct mentoring of 65 graduate students that I'm proud of, PhDs, postdocs, and master students. I serve on the executive committee for IIIE's Central Iowa section, faculty advisor for IIIE student branch, Iowa State University. So back during my PhD, I co-founded the branch of International Hindi Association in Austin. It was nearly 30 years ago and is still running strong. So with that, I'd like to wrap up my presentation. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve to the Alumni Association mission.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, should we move on to Mr. Umesh Joshi? Very early, we were told something about a PowerPoint presentation. And the rule was 7-7-7. 7 slides, 7 points to a slide, and 7 words to a slide. A. And B, you never read a slide. You add on to a slide. So that is a lesson which I learned earlier, and I continue to learn. I'm doing a second innings in the corporate sector now. So now over to Mr. Umesh Joshi, a BTech in Chemical Engineering, batch of 1989, past president of the Bangalore chapter, an entrepreneur. Please unmute yourself. Oh, Mr. Joshi.
He is 99 batch.
Just to
correct.
Saurabh.
My apologies.
No, I would correct that, Saurabh. So first of all, thank you, Outer Delhi chapter. I have worked with some of you in the past very closely, but it's the opportunity for me to talk to other guys who have never got an opportunity to work with. Just to correct the introduction, not 89, I graduated in 99 in civil engineering. In the last 6 to 8 years, I've been very, very closely involved with Bangalore chapter activities, and that has given me both insight and motivation to continue the work that I've been doing at a global level now. And primarily, I would echo some of the things that some of you guys said, right? Mr. Ashok, Kamal said, Pradeep, Bhargava said that largely there are 2 key objectives that as any alumni association would have, right? And and I completely echo with that. The first one is definitely bringing alumni together, right? And getting the alumni together is primarily there is a strength in coming together as a community. I've very closely seen that in Bangalore. In last 6 years, there was a handful of people who were running the Bangalore chapter, but as we started doing multiple social activities and get together, we saw that gradually more and more people started coming together and bonding. And what led after that is when you come together as a community, when you start bonding as a community, a lot of other things start following, right? People start helping each other. People start helping each other socially and professionally. And there have been multiple anecdotal evidences in the last 6 years that I've seen where not just our alumni in Bangalore have helped each other socially. Like say there have been cases where people have got personally stuck with a lot of problems, and we have our senior alumni in bureau, a lot of government positions who have come forward and helped. I've seen younger alumni getting benefited by senior alumni for professional reasons. And in fact, if I just talk about a few things, some of the social get-together that we started doing, like holy get-togethers and picnic, started getting the whole Bangalore chapter together, and then that led to a lot of other professional activities that we started doing, like startup masterclass and see. Just to keep it short, and I think my last 6 to 8 years of involvement in Bangalore has been an amazing experience for me, and I intend to continue doing that on a very high level, bringing alumni together. That has already been happening at chapter level. Multiple chapters have been doing their own bit to get the alumni together. My intent is to keep strengthen that further and get more and more alumni together across the globe. And I think second, more importantly, is Alumni Association exists in order to also align ourselves to the goal of our alma mater, and that is also equally important. And for that reason, strengthening the alumni and institute ties are also important. And in fact, we did our bit at Bangalore chapter also in order to strengthen alumni and institute ties up. In fact, there were multiple events that we organized in Bangalore chapter where we got faculty institute director and connected them to senior alumni, entrepreneurs. And we also try to understand a lot of issues that the institute have been facing. Let's say in last 2 to 3 years, whatever interaction we had with faculty members whenever we hosted them in Bangalore, we learned that how institute is facing problem to hire good faculty members, how institute is having challenges in attracting high value research, and the multiple initiatives we started doing at chapter level in order to connect institute to industry, so that a lot of these
last few seconds, please wrap.
Yes, right. So I think just to summarize, I know another 20 seconds left. Primarily getting alumni together and then also strengthening the alumni and institute tie are the two things that I have been working for last 6 years on the ground, and I intend to continue doing that at a global level. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi. I think we can have an open house, and my request would be that the participants here would be more interested in what the candidates would do. The past gives an indication of what they will do in future. So whatever their plan for the future is, how the IIT Kanpur Alumni Association can work hand in hand with the institute, how we can help our community. And so when the questions are raised, maybe please keep this at the back of your mind while answering them. Damnesh, please, you can ask the questions.
Okay, so we have Virendra Grover sir, who's in member to our chapter. Virendra sir, you can unmute and ask your question.
I have a small, simple suggestion, not question.
Okay.
We have been talking about air quality, pollution, and all that. I have been writing on these things, and I think these things can be turned into sustainable startups. If association takes up the matter, I think things will be better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's nice. There is a question for Shamendra. How would you prioritize your volunteering time between Global A, Mumbai chapter, and Pan IIT if got selected or elected?
Yeah, good question. I think the time management, the team management is what delivers results for one, right? It's not that how many things you're getting involved. I mean, I am doing Mumbai chapter as well as Pan IIT, together, able to deliver results. So that's what I want to do. But then, of course, my loyalty will be first for this global role. And if I find that things are not working out, I'll be Mumbai chapter. Obviously, I'll give it to the next leadership. And now between Pan IIT and global role, I'll see there are a lot of values in being able to be in Pan IIT, because a lot of learnings you can bring to this global goal, because there you are getting to see what happens across IITs, what are the best practices people are using, so a lot of issues of IITians, IIT directors is coming to them, therefore all that is very great input for the global president. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
one question which is been asked by multiple people is the president have pitched as a team, and so there are question I see Harjinder has asked and Sanjay has also put it that how do they, so it may be that there were few people get elected from the other team and then few are from, so there may, these are the candidates which may be coming. So how would you first do transition from the current BOD, and then second is how would you take everyone along? So that's a question which maybe all three can answer one by one. Maybe we can start with Avinash.
Sure. So regarding the transition, in fact, I had reached out to Pradeep earlier about planning a trip to Kanpur and when he'll be there. So I'm happy to be there and be physically present to take whatever transition is required. I believe Pradeep will also be part of the board as ex-president, so we'll have his guidance going forward. And about the other team members, I'm not sure about specifically how long they're committed for. And about the rest of the team, I mean, no matter who wins or loses, there's an open invitation for all of you guys to join and be part of the board, and we'll all work together for it, because the task is almost infinite. So the more hands we have, the better we can work together. The better A will become. So that's how I'll be handling it.
Mr. Boginini.
Yeah. We will take all the winners as the team. Basically, one should understand that this is a selfless. So whoever wins, we will form the team, we will adopt everybody, and we will work together. That's how I proceed.
Yeah, I mean, see, first and foremost, I think all of us are IITians, right? So it's not that if somebody in a group does not win, you cannot work with the other person. I mean, they are basically fundamentally wanting to make a difference in the Alumni Association. So I do not see it's a big issue. The only effort will be needed in terms of aligning this person to the vision which, rest of the team could have taken with them, But I would say that that's not a big challenge. I think we are very happy to work with anybody who gets elected in this, election. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question from one of our member, and the question is, in BOD, there are selected few who basically contest for an election and get selected. There are plenty of other alumni who can contribute in a different capacity to the alumni, different causes for alumni. How would you add those? How would you reach out to those alumni and make them part of your, different initiative there or different causes there? Because the current, if I understand, the current the BOD structure only have would be adding to the elected people. How would you accommodate the other people who are maybe more passionate than, but they don't want to take any formal positions?
Sure. So I have a solution in mind for this, which I've seen working in another club that I'm part of. So the way it works is that you define the portfolios which are relevant for the Alumni Association. Could be networking, could be database, could be the website, could be events, could be chapter formation, etc. And for each of these portfolios, you designate a few roles. The first primary role is that you have a chairperson. Now that chairperson is the person who's accountable for the deliverables of that particular portfolio, and that would be a member of the elected BOD. After that, you have the joint chairs. Now these joint chairs could be subject matter experts. For example, in Facebook, we have identified, let's say, Atul Kumar and I think Girendra Pratap Singh. They are pretty knowledgeable about the constitution, etc. So any changes in the constitution, they would be much better than me to do it for sure. So I'll definitely seek their help. And along with these joint chairs, who will be the SMEs and actually driving the matter, you would have committee members. So there's no limit to the number of committee members you can have in a particular portfolio. So that's how I envision the structure to be, so that we get maximum participation from everybody.
Hey, Damnish, can I take that question too?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so great question. I think we've always faced this question while working at a chapter level. In fact, there is a particular structure that has always been working for us in the Bangalore chapter, right? So while, like any other chapter, there is a executive committee of 5 to 6 members in Bangalore, and we know that we just have to act as a concept of a membership management committee. In fact, so once the 5 to 6 people gets elected in Bangalore, then we open up and then we create something called as a management committee and then invite and nominate people. And that management committee, anybody can join and then pick up areas of their own choice and interest. And so let's say today the management committee is roughly 20 to 25 people, and there we try to tap in both the interest as well as enthusiasm of our alumni, because to the point, yes, the BOD or executive committee may be too small to execute things, and we need to take our alumni along with us when it comes to execution.
Yeah, can I finish, Damnish, my view?
Yes,
just a minute, Mr. Narayan. Damnish, attendees are leaving. We are coming to an end.
Yeah.
So the last point would be made by Mr. Shamin Narayan. Then I'll request Mr. Anurag Goel to give his vote of thanks. Over to Mr. Narayan. And
Right. Look, you cannot achieve such a big task without involving a lot of people from wherever they are interested in, right? So the way this works is there are only 9 members who are being elected with this election. Each one of them will pick up 1 or 2 things which they're very passionate about. And then they will reach out in the network through the chapters and even the online network to find out who the people who are interested in that task. And this is how a big team globally will be made, and they will drive the agenda which this person is driving, as part of the board. So I think the more the merrier, the more enthusiastic people, the better it is. And I think that is the way Alumni Association has to work, and that is the way it will get done. Thank you.
may I request Mr. Anurag Goel to give his vote of thanks? We're almost at the end of our time. Over to Mr. Anurag Goel.
Thank you, Saurabh. It was an extremely excellent debate moderated by Shri Saurabh Chandra, very well managed by Damnish. Thank you, Damnish. Thank you all the participants and the panelists. It was great to listen to Ashok Kamal, our past president, Mr. Pradeep Bhargava, our present president, and the presidential as well as vice presidential candidates. They have shared their vision and thought process, which I'm sure all the participants must have heard and understood. And by now, most of us will understand whom they are going to support or vote. It was a great evening. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, participants, for being with us and patient with us. Thank you.
Thank you and good luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. I hope we have more such debates, if possible.
Yeah, of course.
I just like to add, passing this thing, that it's always good to learn something new. And so the 777 remark was the first time I've ever heard, but always welcome to live and learn. That's my motto.
I was thrown out of a meeting because of that. How can I forget it?
Was that in India or somewhere else?
I've only studied and lived in India. You can only throw out people in India.
All right.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your holidays.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye. Take care. All the best.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Stay safe.